Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Horror Debate. I'm Michael Mandy and he's Rowdy Jeff.
And this week we are reviewing Psycho, the classic, the American classic.
The original.
By
Alfred Hitchcock.
Of course, Alfred Hitchcock. And starring Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh.
Yeah, and Vera Miles. And Arbogast was...
God bless you.
Yeah. Martin Balsam.
So... what are we thinking about this, man? We just got done viewing it. This is a movie that I had viewed a long time ago. Viewed it again probably 10 years ago.
You're not a horror film nut. You have to have seen this film. I mean, otherwise you're not really a, this is where a lot of it started. Was this the first slasher film? Seriously.
Sorta.
I mean, every slasher film... you didn't have a film where someone really got brutally knifed on screen.
Well, you see, here's the way I look at this flick. Now, after rewatching it again tonight, this is what happens when you got 15 minutes of good material and like an hour and 40 minutes to film it. Okay? Now, this is I'm just being honest here, okay? I mean, if I could have gotten the Cliff Notes version of this, I would have done it. Okay, I mean, it's
pretty much every film school in America has the Cliff Notes of it. This film is studied. I mean, seriously,
yeah, because they're trying to figure out what the heck took so long to get to the point.
Oh well,
these guys are. I mean, I've seen molasses move faster than this movie. Okay, these people, they're stoic. They talk like robots.
Well, it's a product of the '60s.
Well,
I mean, films were a lot slower.
They were so high and so busy having sex that they can't act. They can't move.
Well, they weren't having sex. The movie came in after they were done.
Well, okay. Besides the point. The bottom line is,
I mean, the movie started out. Wham! There's Janet Leigh's.
Tell me you could not watch this movie in 15 minutes. You could get everything that mattered in 15 minutes.
45.
15 minutes. I just sat through it, dude. I was timing it, okay? You could get every point you needed to in this movie in 15 minutes. Now, let me just start off by saying, though, that Anthony Perkins did a fantastic job.
Oh, yeah.
He was a wonderful physical actor, had the face of death, man. I loved it.
His expressions, when he looked right at the camera.
Absolutely killer, man. I thought Janet Leigh was also very good. She's very pretty. I mean, very pretty back in the day, But as far as putting this thing together in a cohesive unit that makes you want to sit there and watch this movie, not so much.
Well, it's kind of like back in the 40s and 50s, they had these black and white detective films, and they called them film noir, and to me, this was more of not a horror film, but more of like one of those detective type films.
Yeah.
So, it's paced more like those 40s and 50s, like the Maltese Falcon and those Bogart and Cagney films.
I don't even know if it was paced. I had to feel my heart to make sure I didn't need a pacemaker after watching this thing, man, and my heart was stopped, dude. It was just like Deadsville, I mean, it started off great. The first scene was like, I was like, why are they even showing me this? Okay, why the him and Janet Leigh,
to establish why she would take the money to go off with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
They talked about
him
having
an hour
debts.
to get there. You know what I mean? An hour and 40-minute movie. I mean, come on now, man. You gotta put. I don't know. I have no patience. Okay, and I'm sitting there, going, come on now, move this along. I don't want to know your life history and everything about you. Move along.
Well, movies like then and not only that, they were setting up the Janet Leigh character to be the star of the film. So when she gets offed in the middle of it, the audience went nuts.
Well,
how can you kill the main character that you've devoted so much to?
It's bad when I'm sitting there listening to the violins going, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the violins were cool, weren't they?
But the movie's bad when I'm listening to the soundtrack that closely going, hey, those violins sound great. I mean, okay, it's not a bad movie, and I'm not going to say it's a bad movie because it does have its points, okay? But for me, and what I like in a horror movie, and even though you say it's not really horror, and in a way it is, and in a way it isn't really, for what I like personally, this movie is so far away from that, it's not even close.
Oh, but you got to admit, when the camera is looking straight down from the top of the stairs, when the detective is walking up the stairs, and all of a sudden, bam, mother comes walking right out and takes him down before the stupid fall. Okay, that fall.
That fall was the funniest freaking thing I've seen in the last,
really
I don't know, 6 months.
Bad special
The dude
effects.
moonwalked down the stairs.
Well, what it was projection screen. It was that rear projection. But yeah, they should have.
Come on, I mean, it was bad, man.
Come on, Hitchcock should have hired a stunt man to roll down the stairs.
It was like a reverse escalator effect. Okay, yeah. I mean, okay, let me break it down to you.
But anyways, back to when Mother came out and the violins hit, and that was a pretty brutal. And then he's laying on the ground.
Yeah.
And she comes over and just pounds right into his chest. That was pretty cool.
Okay, Mike.
1960s, people went nuts.
I'm gonna lay it down for you, dude.
Uh-oh.
This is the perfect film to view if you've got diarrhea. And let me tell you why. Because in between bathroom trips, you'll get the entire plot. You'll know exactly what's going on because you're in the toilet for like 20 minutes, right? You come out, there's another action scene.
But if you're in the toilet for 20 minutes, you're going to miss Anthony Perkins doing that great look around when the car stops in the bog.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is that you could be gone for like 20-minute intervals and you wouldn't miss nothing. You wouldn't miss nothing. If you came in the right spots, you wouldn't miss anything. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Next time we watch this film, we'll go, Jeff, you can go to the bathroom. Oh, wait, Jeff, come on back.
No, I refuse to come back, dude. I was sitting there looking at it going, I know this movie's an American classic, and I really shouldn't dump all over it. But the honest truth is that it was so far away from grabbing me, like on any level. I didn't care who got killed.
Well, Jeff, when we watch movies together, grabbing you is not one of my priorities.
Well, you know what? Neither was this movie's priority, obviously, okay? Terrible. I mean, I don't know. I love Hitchcock. I love some of his stuff.
Really? Like what?
Vertigo, was halfway decent. The Birds, halfway decent. You know what I mean? And I didn't.
So you're saying Hitchcock only makes halfway decent films?
Halfway decent films.
Well, okay, so it's a product of the time. Okay, it's a product of the times. I mean, those were classics in their time.
Yeah. So like I said, if you're going to sit down.
So was this halfway decent?
If you're going to sit down in 2007 and you're going to, I was almost thinking to myself, what time period should I review this in? Should I kind of try to transport myself back to the first time that I watched this movie, or should I try to do it in today's standards and what I would hold as today's standards? Now, if I transport myself back in time, this movie stands up a little bit better because I remember when I first saw it. Of course, I was extraordinarily young, but it had more of an impact on me. Okay.
Oh, when this film came out, it had a huge impact on everybody.
Yeah, but in all fairness, I got to say that's the good. The bad is in 2007, it holds up miserably.
Okay.
Miserably. Okay? I mean, I just can see the typical horror fan going to get Psycho, wanting to get scared. And the most scary part would be inserting the DVD into the player. It's not that type of movie anymore. It's a classic for what it was.
Yes, that's perfect. It's classic for what it was.
Yes.
In today's world, I agree, it doesn't hold up quite so
not at
much.
all.
That's why I was trying to say it's kind of morphed itself from back then they called it a horror film. Oh my God, it's the scariest film you've ever seen. Now it's more of a police procedural.
Right. Well, yeah, it was almost like a documentary on taxidermy.
In search of.
Yeah, it was. I don't know, man.
The search for the missing sister.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna mix this up. I'm gonna take a little bit from the back end when it first came out, and a little bit of the review from today's standards, and I'm gonna 2-star this movie, Mike.
So you're saying when you first saw it, it was a 3-star film, but tonight it was a 1-star film. So you're going to even it off and call it 2.
That's exactly what I'm saying because it's certainly not a bomb, and I think just because of Anthony Perkins' performance personally,
it's still cool.
It's above a bomb. But and I hate to say it because Psycho. You think of Psycho and you're like, oh yeah, those were the good old days, but those days are gone. and
those days are gone, and the Rowdy man is here to
tell
you.
Here we are, and I have to be honest with you. You're probably not going to dig this in 2007 unless you're wishing you were back in 1970 something. You know,
or 1960.
Yeah, whatever. So 2 stars, Mike.
Okay, I'm going to give it 3 stars because it is a classic, and you can obviously tell where in the kill scenes on it that's what the people of the 70s and 80s all learned from.
I agree. I
mean, so
I agree with that point. I don't agree with your score, but I agree with the point.
Well, I like the film. I liked it,
and that's too bad for you.
Okay, I'm Michael Mandy. He's Rowdy Jeff. We'll talk to you next week at the Horror Debate.